thank God. Wow, I got to tell you, Caitlin Clark showed up and absolutely blitzkrieged the Dallas Wings. Not a single member of the Indiana Fever other than her showed up.
From the very first stretch of the game, Caitlin Clark made it clear she was operating at a completely different level. In just a limited window of minutes, she dictated the pace, broke down defensive coverage, and scored with a level of efficiency that most players struggle to maintain across an entire game. Every possession felt intentional, whether it was attacking the rim, drawing fouls, or stretching the floor with confident shooting. She looked in full control. It wasn't just about the numbers she put up, it was about how effortless she made it look. The energy inside the arena followed her lead, and for that stretch, the Indiana Fever actually looked like a well-structured, dangerous unit capable of competing at a high level. But the moment she stepped off the floor, everything changed, and it changed fast. The rhythm disappeared almost instantly. Ball movement slowed down, spacing became inconsistent, and the offense began to stall in ways that were impossible to ignore. What had just looked like a confident and flowing team suddenly turned into a group searching for direction. Possessions became rushed or hesitant, defensive effort dropped, and the overall composure of the team started to fade. It wasn't just a dip in performance, it was a complete shift in identity within minutes. That contrast is what makes this moment so important. Because this wasn't just about one player playing well, it was about how dramatically the entire system depended on her presence to function at even a basic level. And that's where the real concern begins. When a single player's absence can cause that kind of immediate collapse, it raises serious questions about structure, depth, and preparation. This wasn't just a highlight performance from Clark, it was also an early warning sign. A warning that while the star is clearly ready, the system around her may still be trying to catch up. What makes this situation even more concerning is that the issue doesn't look accidental, it looks repeatable. The drop-off wasn't caused by one bad possession or a temporary lapse in focus. It exposed a deeper structural weakness within the Indiana Fever. When Caitlin Clark is on the floor, the system has direction, spacing, and purpose. But without her, the team appears uncertain, almost like roles are undefined and responsibilities become unclear. That kind of dependency is dangerous, especially at a professional level where consistency and adaptability are everything. Instead of multiple players stepping into the moment, the offense seemed to hesitate. Opportunities were there, open looks, passing lanes, chances to attack, but the execution simply didn't match the level required. It wasn't just missed shots, it was the lack of confidence behind those decisions. You could see players second-guessing themselves, holding the ball too long, or forcing plays that weren't there. That hesitation disrupts timing, and once timing is lost, everything else begins to fall apart. At the same time, the defensive side didn't compensate for those struggles. Rotations were slower, communication looked inconsistent, and the intensity dropped just enough for the opponent to take advantage. In a league where momentum can shift in seconds, those small gaps turn into major runs, and that's exactly what happened. This is what separates a balanced team from a dependent one. A balanced team can survive tough stretches, adjust on the fly, and maintain control even when their star is resting. But a dependent team feels every second without its leader, and the cracks start to show almost immediately. That's the core problem here. It's not about one game or one loss. It's about how fragile the system looks under pressure. If this pattern continues, opposing teams won't need to overthink their strategy. They'll know exactly where to apply pressure, and unless the supporting cast finds a way to respond, this weakness will keep getting exposed. While the struggles on one side were becoming more visible, the contrast on the other side made everything stand out even more. The Dallas Wings didn't just rely on individual brilliance, they operated like a complete system. Yes, Paige Bueckers was outstanding, controlling the game with confidence and composure, but the difference was in what happened when the ball left her hands. The offense didn't stall. It didn't hesitate. It continued to flow with purpose. Teammates were cutting at the right moments, spacing was maintained, and decisions were made quickly and effectively. That kind of balance changes everything. Instead of forcing one player to carry the entire load, the responsibility is shared across the floor. When Bueckers drew attention, someone else stepped up. When the defense shifted, the wings adjusted instantly. That's what high-level execution looks like. It's not just about talent, it's about trust and coordination. Every player understands their role, and more importantly, they are ready to act when the opportunity comes. This is where the gap between the two teams became impossible to ignore. On one side, you had a team that looked organized, connected, and confident in its system. On the other, you had a team still searching for consistency whenever their primary engine wasn't running the offense. The wings didn't panic under pressure, they adapted. They didn't rely on one option, they created multiple. And that's exactly why they were able to take control of the game when it mattered most. In matchups like this, the difference isn't always about who has the best player, it's about which team functions better as a unit. And in this case, the answer was clear. At a deeper level, this game revealed something even more important, the strategy that opposing teams are already beginning to test. Once Caitlin Clark established herself as the primary offensive threat, the defensive adjustment from the Dallas Wings became very clear. They started to collapse coverage around her, sending extra attention the moment she crossed into scoring range. Whether it was soft traps, aggressive hedges, or simply shrinking the floor, the goal was simple: force the ball out of her hands and make someone else beat them. And tactically, it worked. Because once that pressure came, the Indiana Fever struggled to respond with quick, decisive actions. Instead of exploiting the defensive imbalance, where someone is always left open when extra defenders commit, the offense slowed down. Passes were a step late, cuts were not timed correctly, and the advantage created by Clark's gravity was never fully converted into points. In modern basketball, especially at this level, those moments are everything. When the defense gives you a window, you have to punish it immediately. Hesitation gives the defense time to recover, and once they reset, the opportunity is gone. Another key issue was spacing discipline. When multiple defenders collapse on a primary ball handler, the remaining players must maintain proper positioning to stretch the defense as much as possible. But in several sequences, spacing became inconsistent, players drifted too close, lanes became crowded, and passing angles tightened. That made it even easier for the defense to rotate and contest shots. Instead of creating open looks, possessions turned into forced attempts late in the clock. Defensively, the problem mirrored the offense. Once momentum shifted, rotations became reactive rather than proactive. Help defense arrived late, closeouts lacked urgency, and communication didn't seem sharp enough to stop runs. At this level, tactical discipline is what keeps games under control, especially when things start going wrong. Without it, even small mistakes stack up quickly, and that's exactly how the game slipped away. What this breakdown shows is that the issue isn't just effort, it's execution under pressure. The blueprint is already visible: limit Clark's impact, disrupt timing, and wait for the system to break down. Until the Fever consistently prove they can counter that strategy, teams are going to keep using it. As the game unfolded, the focus naturally shifted from what Caitlin Clark was doing right to what everyone else wasn't doing at the same level. That's the reality of playing alongside a high-impact player. When one person elevates the standard, the expectation rises for everyone else. And in moments like this, that expectation turns into pressure. Not just external pressure from fans and media, but internal pressure within the team itself. Because when opportunities are being created and not converted, it becomes impossible to ignore. You could see it in the body language. The hesitation before taking open shots, the extra second of indecision before making a pass, the slight delay in defensive rotations. all of it points to a group that isn't fully comfortable in those high-pressure moments yet. And at this level, that hesitation is costly. Every missed chance feeds the opponent's momentum, and every defensive lapse makes it harder to recover. The game doesn't wait for confidence to build, it demands it instantly. For the Indiana Fever, this is where accountability becomes critical. It's not about blaming individuals, it's about recognizing that every role matters. When a star player draws multiple defenders, the rest of the team has to respond with confidence and execution. Catch the pass cleanly, make the right read, take the shot without hesitation. That's how you balance the floor. Without that response, the entire system becomes predictable and easier to defend. At the same time, pressure can either break a team or shape it. These moments, as uncomfortable as they are also opportunities. They reveal exactly where improvement is needed, whether it's communication, decision-making, or simply trusting your own ability. The question is how the team responds moving forward. Because if the hesitation continues, the gap will only grow. But if players start embracing that responsibility, this same pressure could become the foundation for real growth. In the end, this isn't just about one performance, it's about mindset. And mindset is what separates teams that struggle from teams that evolve. Now the conversation moves beyond this single game and into something much bigger. What does this mean going forward? Because if this pattern holds, every opponent in the league is going to approach the Indiana Fever with the same mindset, contain Caitlin Clark and test the rest. That turns every matchup into a challenge of depth, adaptability, and mental toughness. It's no longer just about talent, it's about whether the team can adjust when the primary option is taken away. The regular season doesn't allow much time for trial and error. Once games start counting, every weakness becomes a target. If secondary scoring doesn't develop, defenses will keep collapsing. If decision-making under pressure doesn't improve, possessions will continue to break down. And if defensive discipline doesn't tighten, small lapses will keep turning into big runs. These aren't hypothetical concerns, they are patterns that teams study, repeat, and exploit. At the same time, there's another side to this. Challenges like this can accelerate growth if addressed correctly. The presence of a player like Clark forces the entire roster to evolve faster. Teammates have to become more decisive, more confident, and more reliable because the opportunities are there, they just need to be converted. The system doesn't need a complete overhaul, it needs consistency from the supporting pieces. There are also key factors that could shift everything. The return of full rotation players, better chemistry with more game time, and clearer role definition can stabilize the structure. A more complete lineup changes spacing, improves defensive communication, and reduces the pressure on any single player. That's where the real potential of this team lies, not just in star power, but in how well the pieces fit together when everything is working as intended. So the bigger question isn't whether the team has talent, it clearly does. The question is whether that talent can come together quickly enough to handle the adjustments that are already being thrown at them. Because the league is watching, the blueprint is forming, and the margin for error is only going to get smaller. In the end, this game leaves a very clear message, one that can't be ignored or explained away. Caitlin Clark has already shown she's ready to perform at an elite level, even in limited minutes, even under pressure, and even when defenses are built entirely around stopping her. That part is not a question anymore. The real question is everything around her. Because no matter how great one player is, basketball at this level is still about 5 players moving as one, executing as one, and responding as one when things start to go wrong. For the Indiana Fever, this is a moment of clarity. Not failure, clarity. It highlights exactly where improvement is needed, exactly where roles need to be stronger, and exactly where confidence has to grow. The gap between potential and performance is visible now, and that's actually an advantage if the team chooses to respond the right way. Because identifying the problem early gives you time to fix it before it becomes a pattern. But if nothing changes, then the outcome won't change either. Opponents will continue to apply the same pressure, target the same weaknesses, and wait for the same breakdowns. And games like this won't feel surprising anymore, they'll start to feel expected. That's the risk. At the same time, the opportunity is just as real. If this team can build chemistry, trust the system, and step up in those key moments when the spotlight shifts, everything can look completely different. The pieces are there. The talent is there. Now it's about execution. Because moving forward, it's no longer about what Caitlin Clark can do, we've already seen that. It's about what the rest of the team is ready to do when the moment comes. Now I want to hear from you, because this is where your opinion actually matters. After watching this performance, what do you think is the biggest issue right now for the Indiana Fever? Is it lack of depth, lack of confidence, or just early season chemistry that still needs time to develop? And more importantly, do you think Caitlin Clark is being forced to do too much, too soon? Drop your honest take in the comments below, because this is a conversation that's only getting bigger. If you enjoyed this kind of deep, real breakdown, no sugarcoating, no hype, just pure analysis, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you think and keeps this kind of content coming consistently. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because with the season getting closer, every game is going to bring moments like this that need to be talked about. We are going to be covering every major performance, every adjustment, and every turning point as it happens. So stay locked in, stay engaged, and be part of the conversation, because this story is just getting started.